On the 25th of November, on the busiest day in North America, I found a Hyper 212 Evo for a decent price of $30 Canadian. This wasn't the standard version, because it came with an LED, but it has the same performance as the standard version. So I went ahead and performed 3 tests on this cooler by testing it on the CPU i7-6700K by testing 3 configuration: stock, 4.4 GHz and 4.6 GHz. The software that I used was Prime 95. This software made the i7's 8th thread work at 100% load. I ran the program for about 30 minutes for each test. And here are the results. At stock idle, it stayed around 20 degrees Celsius. The hardest score was at 37 degrees Celsius. After 30 minutes of load on Prime 95, the cores were around 60 to 70 degrees Celsius, and the hottest core hit 82 degrees Celsius. Overclocked to 4.4 GHz with the motherboard option, at idle it scored around 23 degrees Celsius, and the hottest score being 35 degrees Celsius. After 30 minutes of load from Prime 95, the cooler struggled of cooling the CPU by hitting 93 degrees Celsius on the hottest core. The CPU was so hot that it slowed down its clock speed to stock 4.0 GHz. For the last configuration, I overclocked it at 4.6 GHz. On idle it was around 24 degrees Celsius, on the hottest core it hit 40 degrees Celsius. On Prime 95 the computer crashed before hitting the 91 degrees Celsius on the hottest core. So there you have it, folks. If you own or want to buy a Hyper 212 Evo, do not hope to overclock your CPU to its limits. But your mileage may vary, because in my case I had a closed chassis with 1 intake and 1 exhaust fan that were mediocre. $8 fans from Amazon doesn't work well, and I had a aftermarket cooler on my GPU, the GTX 750 Ti. Plus the Hyper 212 Evo was mounted horizontally. My point is that others could get better or worse scores. I tested the worst scenario for my CPU, and this proves that the Hyper 212 Evo is capable of cooling a 95 watts TDP CPU at stock. That's it for today, guys. See you guys in the next video.
Can you say that I wasn't there for you?